Okay, we're live.
Okay. Wait, do I have any kudos?
I can do a good double kudos if I need to.
The MasterChef Baby's just being so good. We're taking it so slow watching episodes. We're just
Oh,
savoring
you're
them.
not done with it?
No, it's so good. Got to take it slow.
Because MasterChef regular's starting now.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't started it yet.
Dude, I'm going to give Winco a shout. Okay. You ready?
Ready.
On this week's Sode. I don't know. Let me try some. What do you got here? Throw me some. On this week's Sode. On this week's Sode. On this week's Sode. Up this week.
Up yours this week.
Up yours on this week's Sode.
Up on the week.
Up your butt.
Just don't do it so loud. You
Okay.
always when you do the announcer voice, you always want to get right up on it.
Okay.
But then
On
I get
this
a lot
week's
of that
Sode,
reverb.
I'm staying back from the mic.
There you go. Just for your announcer voice.
Right.
The rest of it's fine.
On this week's Sode.
I mean, if you want to do Alex Jones, that's fine.
On this week's Sode, Riot Games goes toe to toe.
British?
On this week's Sode. House goes to Michael Caine.
It's like a parody of like a British peasant that you would hear in like a bad movie.
Hi, governor. On this week's Sode, Riot Games goes toe to toe with Embracer Group, isn't it?
Stop it. Dang it. You can't kill me before you've even started.
I know, you don't even have any lines. On this week's Sode. On this week's Sode. Oh, there it is. There it is. Come in like an airplane. On this week's Sode. That's great. I actually love that.
You got it there.
On this week's Sode, Riot Games goes toe-to-toe with Embracer Group to find out what's worse, a $450 skin or an $80 video game. Those stolen pallets of gaming handhelds turn up at some random restaurant in Vegas, and the CEO of Take-Two malfunctions on stage. Then we talk about what parts of summer remind us of video games, and Peterson reviews Abiotic Factor. You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. You're frozen. Or are you just like super impressed? You just frozen in general? I'm going to go check. I'm going to go look at the YouTube to see if you're frozen there too. Am I frozen? Oh, it's so sad. Oh, he comes back. Oh. God, I hope no one's in this video right now.
All right.
What happened?
I think I kicked the power cord.
Oh man, what are you, 12?
I was just sitting there, and I think that's the only thing I can think of because I was just sitting there. All of a sudden, the power went out. My PC went out. What do you see? Eric Kai was just sitting there making comments about you playing with your wiener on the camera.
Well, someone's got to play with it.
I said I would. You just have to wait a minute.
Well, if you'd quit kicking the power cord.
Golly.
Okay, do you want to start over?
No, let's just keep this bad boy going.
Just leave the gap in this in the sode. Okay.
It's just for the live episode.
Okay, cool. Then we'll
It's fine. There's only 8 minutes of garbage.
yeah, it's fine. People get it when they're listening to this shit show. Okay, well then we'll just start with
We haven't started the intro yet. So because I booted it before you started.
Oh, so that's what I meant.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to start the whole episode again.
Yeah, no, you haven't even started. Because did you do the intro?
Yeah. You didn't hear it? I just sat here
Zero.
talking about to myself like a jackass while you kick the power cord.
Zero. I was
Fucking
gone.
donkey. Okay, well you got your feet pinned down.
Yes, I will not move.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, are we all good then? Otherwise,
Yeah,
okay,
it looks like
power's on. Let's do it. On this week's sode, Riot Games goes toe-to-toe with Embracer Group to find out what's worse, a $450 skin or an $80 video game. Those stolen pallets of gaming handhelds turn up at some random restaurant in Vegas, and the CEO of Take-Two malfunctions on stage. Then we talk about what parts of summer remind us of video games, and Peterson reviews Abiotic Factor. You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And that's the show, folks.
Look, if you're watching this on YouTube, you had an
Sorry?
8-minute intro with lots of errors, and then I kicked the power cord to my PC, I think, and just shut the whole thing off.
Really selling our YouTube channel here. Like, you should all hit and mash subscribe so you guys can participate.
Honestly, what the podcast listeners is the first 2 minutes of like JD burps, us trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
A lot of fucking burps.
Yeah, and that's like the first 2 minutes is just nonsense, and then we start.
Oh, first 8 minutes this week. So thanks to Phil, he's here hanging out with us.
Quad, you get 4 times the benefit this week.
Yeah, so subscribe to the 3-Bit Gamer Show YouTube channel. You're gonna love it.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news.
Okay, our news this week is brought to us by the fine cookie makers at Crave Cookies.
Brave.
Crave Cookies is this fantastic cookie shop. You can go to, oh, it's so cool. Go to cravecookies.com. Trent's website gets better every time I go there. But yeah,
he loves this type of stuff.
Yeah. So go check out cravecookies.com and it'll show you the cookie menu that's out this week. Because Crave's menu changes every single week, which is kind of crazy. But every week we have every Friday we have new cookies. But because this podcast goes up on Tuesday and because we love you guys, we tell you what's coming out the next Friday. The sneak peek of the week. Cookies that no one, not even the employees of Crave, know are coming. They all ask me, hey, JD, what's coming up next week? I'm like, I know. But it's not because I work here. It's because I work for the 3-Bit Gamer Show.
You should listen to the podcast. Why don't you think about that?
Yeah, why don't you tune in? Here, I'll show you how to subscribe on your phone.
Dude, we should have Trent just send it out to all of the like franchise owners and the managers and stuff like that. They have to listen.
Yeah, that would make sense if it was a required listening. And that's how they have to find out what their menu is going to be. So next month, this is the first month or the first week next week of the new cookie month, which means we no longer will have the peanut butter cup, which is that peanut butter cookie that had the Reese's peanut butter cup in the middle. Now we will have the Rockstar, which has all sorts of shit in it, including pretzels and other sides is chocolate chips.
Rockstar's
What else is
one
in
of
the
the best.
Rockstar?
One of the best. Salt, isn't there salt in it?
Yeah, there's like salt on top. The Rockstar is kind of the business. So
It's
that's
honestly
the
one of
monthly
the best
cookie
ones.
for June. So you'll be able to get a lot of
Beautiful.
Rockstar in. Also, the caramel snickerdoodle, our favorite one to say, least favorite ones to make. Reese's peanut butter explosion. Ooh, bunch of Reese's peanut butter or the Reese's pieces in that thing. It's just like a peanut butter cookie with a bunch of Reese's pieces in it. Nutty Nutella chip. I don't know what kind of nuts go in that.
Nuts on
We
nuts
did
on
get
nuts
a bunch
on
of
nuts.
hazelnuts. So probably hazelnuts. And then finally the coconut crave. That is the coconut sugar cookie. Oh, so effing good. So yeah, go down to Crave Cookies. If you're in the neighborhood, which you might have one coming to you, you go to cravecookies.com. You can see all the locations. There might be one coming into your neighborhood soon. We've spotted a few out of state, out in the wild. So you never know. You might be able to get your cookie on across the country on. So fucking tired.
I wish I was editing that out, but I'm not going to.
Get your cookie on. Remember those pallets of Playdates that disappeared from a FedEx shipping center? Naturally, they turned up at a random restaurant in North Las Vegas.
Dude, I've seen
Wild.
the picture. It is just like piles of boxes of
Yeah.
Playdates just like stacked in
On
front
the
of their
sidewalk in
like
front of a restaurant.
yeah, right in front of them. They're just like, oh, on your doorstep. Here
A couple
you
of
go.
them falling over like they just didn't care.
Yep.
This, if you guys don't remember this was a company named Panic. They made this Playdate handheld, which I believe I talked on in the first like couple episodes of this whole podcast, which was it had a crank on the side of it. And the crank not only, I think, powered it in some way, charged it or something, but it also contributed to like the actual gameplay.
Yeah, like every game had to have like a crank, like a turning mechanic. I don't know.
So crazy. So they were doing some inventory on these and they found $400,000 of them were missing. And so they contact FedEx and FedEx is like, we shipped those. They're like, no, you didn't. And FedEx is like, yeah, maybe you're right. We'll go look in our shipping center. Oops, they're gone. We don't know. And so then this is the next update. All of a sudden, that just some random restaurant in North Las Vegas got a donation of Playdates. I guess. I don't know. The thing is, it's kind of funny to me. Did you catch this at the end that the company was like alluding to telling the rest of the story? Like they know why they showed up at the restaurant, or they have some of the answers that you maybe wonder, or to some of the questions you may have. But they said, "Oh, well, we're saving that for like a future podcast episode." So I don't know if that was like the impression is that like they would have they know what happened. And they're like, oh, we're just going to make a podcast. It was like the Playdate Heist podcast. I don't know if it's going to sell podcasts or sell Playdates, but
I don't know.
we'll find out.
Maybe my theory is that
That's called a job.
they stole themselves
Someone
a job.
realized that they stole themselves a job.
The hardest job ever, trying to offload $400,000 worth of the most
Even the
random
company that
handheld.
made Playdates can't do it. They would be stoked if someone could find out how to sell 400,000 of these things.
You want to work for us?
Yeah, but
Yeah, this is great. My theory is that they scoped out this restaurant because North Las Vegas is not the nice part of Vegas, and this restaurant
this place
doesn't
does
have
not have
cameras. And they were
Yeah.
like, "This is where we're dumping them. We're 2 a.m. We're coming up. We're just guys. They have like 4 guys, and they're just like dump all these boxes.
Unloaded
like,
them
get out
so
of there."
fast.
Yeah.
And then like a cat yowled or someone dropped a box and they just dumped them all and scattered like roaches.
I wonder if they kept one though. I feel like I would have kept one, like just
Maybe.
to play with it, you know.
Or maybe they just hated them, just smashed as many as they
They were
could.
like, "Why is there a crank on it?"
So stupid. This is the weirdest Game Boy I've ever stolen.
Dude, it's the Game Boy you play in the apocalypse. You just power crank that thing, charge it, and then you got to go.
Riot Games has released a new skin bundle for just $450. Yeah, so I guess this possibly could have been a riblet, but
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to talk about the fact that ever since we checked out of League of Legends, it has gotten more and more asinine and more ridiculous with the asks they're making of their community. Now, this is a free-to-play game, if you guys aren't aware because you don't play League of Legends, is that it's free to download. Anyone can play it. Anyone can download it. But they make the majority of their money through skin sales, which don't affect the gameplay at all. Whether or not your character is using a certain skin doesn't do anything. It just looks different.
It does something. You get some street cred, some clout. Does all these things.
They have this thing going on in League of Legends right now called the Hall of Legends. It's an event, and they're celebrating, I think pro players are celebrating legends in the League of Legends community, I guess. And one of the bundles is themed around the pro player Faker. Now, when I used to report on esports way back in the day for Red Bull, the Faker was somebody that like was working and was just like, he's like the Tom Brady. He's like the Wayne Gretzky of League of Legends. He is just like cream of the crop. He's always been amazing. And whereas a lot of players, most pro players age out pretty fast, he's been consistent and solid. And so they're honoring him in the Hall of Legends. That's all sounds great. That sounds great. Cool.
Cool.
I will say I'm not sure, but I'm almost certain he doesn't get any of this money. So that's kind of a fun thing. But the Hall of Legends event bundles, well, the first one is $40, which
it seems like a lot,
like a handful of skins.
Yeah.
The second one is $250. And then the Faker one, this is the big deal, is $450. Now they don't say here it's cost $450. It's like 8,000 like riot points.
59,260 riot points.
Riot points. And even in riot points, like you had to put a comma in it and then two numbers to the left.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. And so yeah, they try to hide it behind their own in-game currency, but in reality, it's $450 fucking dollars for a couple skins for this free-to-play game. Dude, what the hell?
I don't know. And like it seems like nonsense. The community's pissed about it, obviously, because like what could have been just like a cool opportunity to like, oh, I want to buy the skin for my favorite guy or whatever based on him or whatever it is. But no, they had made it like the most whaley whale buy ever. And like Fortnite has done this where they have like popular players and they have their own skin thing and stuff like that. They're normal price. They are not anything special out there. And the person does get a cut of it. It's like this thing, but $450. Like, who is this even for?
Okay, so here's my question for you is back at the heyday, the peak of us playing League of Legends, do you think Spencer would have bought this?
He would have thought about
Considered it. Yeah, so there's
like,
people that'll buy it, but
it.
This is insane. I can't imagine. Like, I saw tons of skins when I played. We played for hundreds of hours, and I saw lots of skins that I wanted, and I was just like, I couldn't justify it.
I was like,
for like $20. The idea that someone would be like $450 for just like a couple skins, because this is a bundle. It's not.
The first time I dropped $20, I think, on League of Legends was we'd been playing for a long time already, and they released the pumpkin head fiddlestick.
Yeah,
skin, and I was like,
so cool.
Dang it!
And his ultimate was so tight.
So I got that one, and that was like, and I sat there and I was like, dang, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like, and it was $20 for a game, free to play game I'd been playing forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, still upset about it. Like $450. That's more than I spend, I would say, on
that's more than my
games
annual budget
in probably 2 years.
Yeah, probably 2 years. Yeah, because I was thinking most of the games I buy on Steam are under $15 because I wait for them to be on sale.
Get them on sale.
So many games on
every
sale.
now and then. There's one that I'm like, yeah, I gotta pay $45 for this, like, because I really want to play it. But like $450, I just don't get there. You know,
that's crazy. So that's the future, though. These that's the freemium model that they dream of, is that they can get people to pay that much. Embracer CEO and repeat Shitbird of the Week recipient Lars Wingfour is really sad that he can't charge more than $70 for video games, and he wants you to feel bad for him. This
guy. This is just like
fucking clown ass.
He's just in the cycle. He's in the video game executive CEO cycle. This is what they do.
I don't know why he can't just shut the fuck up. Why does he keep taking interviews? Why can't he just keep his foot out of his fucking mouth? This was an interview with gamesindustry.biz. So this wasn't like a thing he was forced into or that he needed to do. Nope. He did this voluntarily. And the things he said in this
Someone reached out to him and was like, hey, do you want to do an interview? And he's like, oh, I got some stuff to say.
And they were like, really? Are you sure you want to keep saying stuff?
Oh, I've got some stuff to say. You have no idea. But he did it in the accent. What's the accent, JD?
I think the industry is facing the same problem as the other industries with inflation and rising costs of game development, and it's been hard to increase pricing in premium PC and console. Dude, that was like 3 different accents.
Dude, that's what happens every time we have JD do an accent. If it's longer than like 2 sentences, he will morph at least once, and it's my favorite thing ever.
This is so weird. I don't know who the fuck would confide this to a business publication like GameIndustry.biz. This is like a thing you say to shareholders or boardroom financial discussion, saying it's hard to increase. It's been hard. It's not that it would be hard or we are avoiding. It's been hard. Like we've been really pushing to increase pricing in premium console games, and it's just been hard. That's a weird fucking thing to just come out and say. Like, man, people just don't want to buy. Like, I don't know. That's a weird, like you said, it's like he called them up. He's like, I got some shit to say. I was thinking in the shower, and then I did a bunch of drinking, and I'm ready for this interview. He said on top, he also goes on to say, on top of that, the consumers have more content than ever to choose from. Not wrong. It's something we've discussed. People have so many games in front of them. And even if you are Embracer Group and you bought 2,000 game studios with 20,000 games, you're still not going to have enough games to compete with everyone. He's saying, and then he goes on and says, I'm not saying you can't increase the price, but the reality is that no one has tried it. What? No one's tried to sell a video game for more than $70, motherfucker? They do that every year. You've tried to do that.
These guys have been bringing it up over and over and over. Like, this is not
well, like, yeah, but every special edition of a video game ever is more than the base $70 or $60 price. And he's just like waxing poetic about how this is such an impossibility. And he's like, oh, I just want it. I don't know what he's talking about. Yes, there is some sort of demand, and it's shown itself for a game that is that price point. I don't know. I feel like he's got such a disconnect from reality. But here's the quote. Here's the big one.
This is
I bolded this and wrote Shitbird of the Week underneath it, so I know it's going to be good. I just believe that there are consumers willing to engage in those amazing RPGs and other single-player games, and ultimately they're willing to spend money on them. Do you increase pricing, or do you make them shorter? I think there are ways. I think it would be very sad if everything just became big multiplayer in-game monetization titles. There are millions of consumers willing to engage in more classic games. What? There's like 4 parts of that made me say, what?
Yeah, same with me. I was just like, wait. He's made so many points here. First off, yes, make them shorter. Like, what? Like, that like consistently gamers have been saying, like, we don't need
and I'm sorry
200-hour game.
What? Yeah, and he's equating that to like the difficulty of development time and development cost. Is that the game is too long? Because I'm pretty sure Assassin's Creed games came out annually and still managed to increase their length by like 10% every new release. Directly correlating an RPG's length with its development time shows that this guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Even though he owns like 600 game studios, he has no knowledge about how game development actually fucking works. Dude, I can't wrap my head around it.
Shorter game, less money. Like, what's hard to understand? Like, less time, less money, right?
He says that's binary. Do you increase pricing or do you make them shorter? He's like, I can't think of anything else. Those are the only two options. The ones I just made up right now. That's it. Me, Lars Wingefort, as a guy who ostensibly sat down and prepared for this interview, or at least did like the basic core fundamentals of my job as the CEO of a major game publisher. I had this like idea when I came, and this is it. These are all I've got. Is either you make RPGs shorter or you make them or you make them more expensive. That's it.
That's it. This is the equivalent of
What?
what's his face saying, like, what was it, Rockstar, who was like, I think maybe what if you paid more money for the amount of time you put into a game.
Yeah.
And it's
so he's like,
that's what he's saying.
We'll make The Witcher. Yeah, we'll make a game that is, 200 hours long, just like these Assassin's Creed games. And yeah, you're going to pay $500 for it. It's going to cost as much as a Riot Games
$120. And yeah, you're good because you played a 100-hour game and you paid 60. So now 200-hour game is going to be 120. Like, come on, just do the math, guys. And
he says,
no one made you make the game longer. Nobody said that, or no one made you do that.
He says, if you create an enormous RPG, for example, with 100 or 150 hours of gameplay, very polished and unique experience, would the consumer be willing to pay more? If they would, they would have more products potentially coming to market, but no one has tried it. Dude, honest to God, right here, this quote sounds like the guy from Ancient Aliens. This sounds like Ancient Aliens. He proposes a crazy hypothetical that really, at the foundation of the hypothetical, makes no sense, and then he just starts making assumptions and landing at conclusions based on this crazy whack job hypothetical. That hypothetical being that if you made a huge, enormous RPG that was 100 to 150 hours, first of all, tons of RPGs are that long, just
pretty
tons
normal.
of them. The idea that this has never been done shows that this guy's a fucking moron. But
Every
then he
Persona
says,
game.
yeah, what the hell? And then he says, would the consumer be willing to pay more? He asks this hypothetical. Okay, so it's already been done. And yes, people have paid more than 60, 70, or when games are 50, they paid more than the base price for games that they loved. Big, long RPGs. I don't know what you're getting at, bro. And then he's saying, oh man, if they did, we'd have so many more of those games. So he's saying if they made this one game and it's type of game and it sold a lot, we would make a lot more. Thanks, bro. You should maybe buy some more game studios that you could just impart this grand knowledge onto, because you're a fucking genius.
Dude, this is brilliant. Wait, just make stuff that
drunk?
people like, and then
yeah,
I mean,
if they
you
buy
are.
it, this is like when you just get into the C-suite by just talking so much and everyone's like, yeah, I guess what you're saying are technically words and sentences that are being strung together into paragraphs.
Oh, we've got
but
one
you're
of
not
those coming
saying anything. I can't believe they fucking printed this shit. It's a waste of fucking.
Oh, they probably
it's not
loved
even
it. They were
ink.
like, what is he saying? Like, everything he's saying is nonsense right now.
If they would, you would have more products potentially coming to market. He's being mealy-mouthed even in this.
So wait,
He's not
first,
saying
in
Oh,
his
God, he's
first
so
breath,
stupid.
he says that, and what I'm assuming is he's saying they need to be more expensive because dev time on a longer game is longer. And he's saying if that was the case, we'd make more. And it's like, well, no, because there's not an infinite amount of time. And so it's not like, hey, we made a super long game. It took us 7 years. You guys paid more for it and you liked it. We're going to make so many more of those. It's like, you can't make so many more. And not every 120-hour game is magic. That's the other thing, like there's like Assassin's Creed, right? Good games, but are they brilliant? No. Right there. And so he's just assuming everything they make is going to be great, which is just not the case. And what we've seen repeatedly is people will pay $60 for a 20-hour game. They will. If the game is great, and they will be happy to do it. The game is great, and it takes 20 hours to beat. They paid full price.
And people will pay
glowing
$5
reviews
and play a game for 6,000 hours.
Yeah.
So this is a really crazy, stupid, pointless line of reasoning. And I don't know why he's so fixated on RPGs and single-player RPGs.
It's the only type of game.
If he's talking about, they're like, okay, well, if it's not a monetized multiplayer game, what is it? And he's like, it's an RPG. It's like this guy knows too types of video games.
Yeah. But
He's
what
like,
else is there?
Is it a
Name
Halo
one-
or is it a Zelda? Like, those are the only games I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Dude,
Fallout,
it's fucking
Zelda.
crazy. He's got like no Fallout would be way too obscure for this jump. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's so crazy. And this is the last thing from him. Oh my god, the last quote I want to read. This is how he closes it out. It made me so mad. I believe in gaming and the industry, and I think it is here to stay and grow. But we will see the capital market. But will we see the capital market returning and the corporate investing their capital again? We haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure there are more boom and bust waves coming in the future. This guy says, I believe in the gaming industry. Thanks for the thing you shouldn't ever have to say as the CEO of one of the largest gaming companies on earth.
It is a proven industry. You don't have to say.
Yeah,
you
this
believe
isn't
in it.
1985, and you're talking at CES 86.
Yeah, and there's like 2 consoles that have been released. And you're like, still,
Yeah.
it's still in the testing the
You're
waters.
like, well, maybe video games. No, you're a fucking idiot to say such.
I
to
believe
even
in this.
imply that there's another side to this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's here to stay and grow. I believe that. You know, I'm a real genius, a business genius, and I think video games are here to stay and grow. Wow. What do you think about books? What do you think about music? Oh, I think music is a big industry. I think the music industry has continued to be listened to. People are going to love it. Oh, I think music industry is going to be huge.
Next up, wait till you hear what I have to say about the film industry.
Oh, you guys like food? Everyone needs it. Restaurants. Oh my gosh, my biggest bet in 2025: restaurants. People are gonna love them because they love to eat.
Just like, you got a new restaurant concept that you're thinking? No.
No, it's just the concept of
the
restaurants.
Idea of people paying for food, like it's gonna be big.
What a jackass! So he says he believes in the gaming industry, but then he says in the same sentence, "Oh, I'm not sure if the capital's is going to come back." Which, in layman's terms, he's saying, if I can't get someone else's money into my company somehow, whether through a loan or an investment or some other means like a buyout, there is no way forward for the gaming industry. He's saying that the video game industry relies on, like food, air, and water, outside capital investments. If they dry up, gaming industry is going to just which yes, there is some truth to that, but that's a self-fulfilling prophecy that he's ensured as the CEO of Embracer. That doesn't need to be the case. He's saying that
what
no
he's
one
saying
made
is,
him
look,
do this.
If the Saudis are not going to fork over money, then we can't make games.
The whole industry's fucked. Like, if the Saudis aren't going to just like send us briefcases full of blood money, what can we do as game industry executives? We're fucked, dude.
We can't make a single thing. That's what we need.
That's what he's saying. He's like, I can't make video games. I can't make money without other people's money.
Here's the problem with the gaming industry. It's the same problem that the movie industry currently has. They do rely, these huge games rely on massive capital investments, just like a movie. They need someone to, if you got a movie idea, step 1, you get your script. Step 2, you get somebody to fund it. That's what you got to do. And that's the gaming industry saw that model and was like, that's what we're going to do as well. But the problem is we're running into the same problem that you're getting in the movie industry. Now all we get is remakes and sequels. Like, that's all we're getting. The safe bets instead of some brilliant games, right? Some amazing new IPs that come out. We've seen that. I mean, during the time of this podcast, we've seen so many new IPs come out. And yeah, there's been a ton of sequels that have been amazing, but we've seen new IPs. We've seen new game types just making it big. And so, but all the money is doing the safe bet. So you have to rely on things like PUBG to make the battle royale, player unknown to make the battle royale genre explode. Then Epic Games gets in, then everyone else gets in because it's now a safe bet, right? So it's the little guys doing the revolutionary stuff, and then the big guys jumping on the trend. Sometimes they jump on a trend from 2016, which is why we have 3 hero class-based shooters coming out this year.
I just hate that this guy, and I think a lot of people of his ilk are the people who have so much influence over this hobby, just in general, and the industry. And most importantly, I would say the workers that make this industry what it is, the artists and the creators. And this is the idiot who makes their realities just a fucking nightmare to live. So, yeah, no, I've had enough of this guy. I really would like it if he'd stop taking interviews. I'd be really
finger for
lies for. CD Projekt Red says it wants to release major games more frequently. Well, I think all of us would like that if they don't suck, I guess. This came out during CD Projekt Red's quarterly earnings last week. They said they've already been working on 2 games at a time currently, with the Cyberpunk DLC, which they're counting as a game because so many people are working on it, and Polaris, which is some other game that I don't really know that much about. And they said they're developing Cyberpunk 2 in Boston, Polaris in Europe, and there's other projects, other teams like Project Sirius, which is also in Boston with the Molasses Flood. The game is called the Molasses Flood that they're working on. So
no, I think that's the studio.
Oh, that's way more disappointing. I don't really like that anymore. Anyway, they said they wanted to make their development less lumpy. So my big question here is, have they learned some like amazing lesson? Has CD Projekt Red come out on the other side of the Cyberpunk 2077 shit show smarter?
No, obviously they learned a lesson. The lesson is you release one game, you only get paid for that one game. But so this is again, this is just brilliant minds at work here. They're like, okay, how about this?
We'll make 5 games.
Let me pitch this. We released one game and made this much money. It was crazy. It took us like 7 years. It was like awesome. Look how much money we brought in. What if? Hear me out. What if we did more games? I know.
Some more games tapping away on a calculator, and he goes, "It checks out. It checks out."
So if we had 5 games, we would make 5 times that.
We would be trillionaires. All we need to do is make 25 games.
I just love that they come out with this and they're like, duh. Like, why is everyone else so stupid? Like, we should just make more games and we'll make more money.
Well, they spent 7 years making one game poorly, and then 3 years fixing said game.
So they could have, in that 7 years, made
5 shitty
3
games.
or 4 games poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's a good business model.
Big things to come. Everybody call your financial planners and your financial managers and get them to invest all your money in CD Projekt Red, because it's gonna take off, you guys, promise.
I'll do it. And then my brokerage
shut it down.
will be like, you can't.
Nah.
You know what? We're just not gonna let you put your money in anything video. Remember when you tried to put your money in Embracer? That's what they're gonna say to me.
Peterson's gonna get put in a conservative. What is that thing that Britney Spears was in?
A conservatorship or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. You keep asking to invest in CD Projekt Red.
You can't
take your money away from you.
You know what? You asked too many times. First it was Embracer.
Your dad's Projekt Red. They're gonna give all your money to your dad.
Like, no, but the Saudis there's gonna be an influx of cash. I think. I don't know.
Saudis are coming through.
Like, what do you know? Do you use this insider trading? But I'm not tight with the Saudis. I can tell you that. I don't really know any Saudi people.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know any Saudis. Oh, do you think I do?
I don't. I know one. All right.
Oh, well, here it is. Here it is. Is he a prince, JD?
Aren't they all? All right. So riblets are these little meat chunks of news. Not enough news for a whole rib. First up here, Valve has confirmed that your Steam account cannot be transferred to anyone after you die.
Oh, really? How do they even know I'm dead?
Exactly. This is kind of a user on the Risotera forum asked if he could put his Steam account in his will. Dorky. But I guess if you bought like 1,000 games,
I
that's the
have
thing.
so many games.
You and I have tons of games, but whenever we like see other people's Steam, unless you're like hosting a gaming podcast, most people aren't buying as many games as we buy on Steam. They don't have as many in their library as we do. So I feel like having it in your will is kind of weird. But the Steam support staff responded to this question and said, I regret to inform you that your Steam account cannot be transferred via a will. You know how it can be transferred, though? I know this is such a crazy workaround, and I don't think Valve offers this, but I will sneak this to you as just like a JD original secret.
Oh,
Sticky note and a pen. Write your username and then your password, and just slap that bad boy on your will right there.
I can see it now. In like 2097, they're going to be like, wait a second. This account is like 100 years old.
How old is this JD?
Like, I'm a super old man. It's like my great grandkids.
Yeah, dude. Then these
passing
accounts
it along,
and you pick up games right as they go along, and these accounts just snowball until they have like tens of thousands of dollars worth of games. They're in a library unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the trick, you guys. Don't put it in your will. Just write down your password and literally hand it to somebody.
Yeah, just have it existing somewhere.
Yeah.
Because like that's what the article even says. Like, I guess you technically can't stop that from happening, but you're not allowed to do it. It's against the user terms.
I'm gonna hunt you down.
How would they even know?
That's how they're just gonna keep tracking on the average age, and then they start bugging you once your account gets over 85 years old.
Really, a 75-year-old man playing?
Yeah, they check your
whatever the new Fortnite is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they check your keystroke speed, and they're like, nope. Can't do that.
I guarantee it. Let me see your keyboard. There's not any crumbs or spittle on your keyboard at all.
You have to send them pictures of your hands every year after your account turns 70, and if there's no liver spots, they just shut your whole down.
This is why you don't play VR games on Steam. This is why, because that VR is taking a video, and they're like, there's no cataracts in those eyes. Those look way too young.
Tell. Exactly. I don't have cataracts because I just smoke so much weed. That's why I'm good.
Oh,
that's how it works.
They'll be like, is he a weeds? Look at their games. Look at the games list and be like, he does smoke weed. I can tell. I can just
There's
tell.
a lot of heyday. The Take-Two CEO offers up the worst statement on GTA ever.
This is. We just got to read the statement.
Yeah, so I'll let Peterson read it. I'll just offer a brief bit of context. Is the PC version of GTA 6 has not been announced, as with the last two. I think like all of the games. GTA always comes out on PC, but it comes out later. So everyone knew it was coming out, and the Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick was asked at this random telecom conference. I don't know why he was there.
Why are they even doing so many conferences and interviews?
They can't stay away because that's like work for them, because they don't actually do actual work.
That's actually a good point.
So the people that do the work keep sending him off to these conferences to keep him out of the fucking way. So he was asked about the PC port, that like, when is this going to come out? Because you always release it after the game and you haven't announced it yet. What's the scoop on it? And this is how he responded.
Well, the lack of an announcement is not something that could be set in stone, as near as I could tell, because the only thing that happens after the lack of an announcement is an announcement, I suppose, or a continuing lack of announcement. I guess that could happen too. It doesn't seem to me that either would be set in stone, but Rockstar has an approach to platforms, which we've seen before, and they will make more announcements in due time. I do believe that the right strategy for our business is to be where the consumer is. And historically, what this platform has done is address consumers anywhere they are on any platform that makes sense over time. Okay?
What is it? Is there like a collective brain virus that only affects CEOs and makes them like every single conversation just turns into a filibuster, like they're running out the clock?
So the lack of an announcement is kind of an announcement of itself, if you think, but like announcement is not an announcement.
This is just like Lars Vingefort saying that like if you made a lot of if you made these games and they sold a lot, they'd make more of them. and he takes like an entire paragraph to say that.
Yeah,
What is
what
this?
did you just say, Strauss? What did you just say? And
You were reading that statement. There were multiple times I was like, wait, is Peterson like ad-libbing? Is he adding to this? And it was like, no, it's just that's just what it was.
Said.
This
And he
guy's
said
brain just
announcement
melted.
so many times. And the person who asked the question was like, did he even answer the freaking question? Like, what did he think I asked? That's what I need to know now. What does he think I said? Does
like
he
an
speak
alien wearing
does
like
he
a human
speak
suit.
English?
And it's like just almost there. Maybe it's AI. Maybe that's what he's got is like an AI robot doing this. And because that's kind of what it sounds like.
You look like you're
It's-
wearing a Zelnick suit.
Yeah, we're like an Edgar suit.
You look like you're wearing an Edgar suit.
Peterson's done it again. He jinxed another game studio. We
No,
just talked about Wildermyth.
that was
and-
not me. That was you. You were
Nope.
no. Read it as it's written, JD.
I'm reading it on my notes as I wrote it. The Wildermyth studio, World Walker Games, is going into quote unquote hibernation. I don't know what that means. They're quote saying farewell to many of its team members. So I guess theoretically this should have been reported out in the layoff section because they are laying everyone off, but they're doing it in a way that they're calling it hibernation. So it makes you
They're
think
like
cute
we're
fuzzy
gonna
bears.
we're gonna call you when we do have something to develop.
Right.
Like I don't even understand that.
What do you I guess
Like-
I hope I have enough money that I can just
If they
hang
need a
out.
new game idea, we just talked about it last week. I got super excited for it. I was
Yep.
like, dude, JD, thank you for bringing up Wildermyth. I'm going to play it again. Like, that sounds amazing. I was so stoked about it. I thought about it for like 2 days after.
So you're describing why it was your fault.
It was not. You started it.
Mm-hmm.
You just put it into my brain. My brain didn't put it out in the ether. Your words did.
Everyone is congratulating these guys, like, oh, that's cool because you're an indie game, so you can just kind of do that. You don't need to like have the next project on the horizon. But at the same time, I'm like, what about those? Are we seriously just forgetting about the people that work there? Because like, I feel like I don't know. Like, I guess you're like, maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe I don't even know how many people they have working there. But I feel like if I was in charge of that studio, I would feel like at least some obligation to the people that worked there, not to just say, well, can't think of anything for the next game. So
We got nothing. We got
peace.
nothing.
I hope you guys can find jobs. We're going to go into hibernation.
Part of it's though, like, well, what have you been doing then? Like, did you not see this coming?
Yeah.
Like, have you not been trying to like think of something? Like, if your job is the studio head, how have you not been spending 40+ hours a week just like thinking of something that you would be a good idea with, especially with the Wildermyth like platform you've kind of already built?
Right. It's not
Like,
like this is.
There's so
And
much
if
they
this
could
is one
do.
person, I'd be like, fuck yeah. Or even if it was like 5 people and they're like, yeah, we're going to take a break. But this is like a legitimate like,
It's like a
studio.
studio. Yeah.
And they're just like, bye. I don't know. I feel like I would definitely feel some form of obligation to those
Well,
employees.
I don't know. They've just been hanging out, I guess.
6 full-time employees. So yeah, maybe it's just 6 people.
Like we couldn't think of anything. We couldn't
Yeah,
think of
no, that's
anything.
okay. I guess
We were
it's 6
too
people.
busy getting
I
drunk.
feel like there's probably at least 1 or 2 people in that group that are like, oh, well, I wanted to kind of keep making games, but
It's like, listen, we'll think of something and then we'll call you.
but I guess with 6 people, that's like a band breaking up. Like, yeah.
Guys, we don't have any new songs. We have to break up.
Peterson, that's what I'm hearing is that you and I can go scoop these people up and get Wildermyth FTL made.
Bro.
All we got to do is hit up Lars Wingefloor, who is a notorious idiot, and
we'll
I
ask
think
him. We'll ask him for some Saudi contacts and be like, "How do we get that cash?" Because we
Mm.
know that the only way to make a game is to like start with a huge influx of cash,
right.
and then we'll just bring the dream team together and make it happen.
I think we just fly straight to Saudi Arabia. If I'm going with like the safe bet, is that we fly there and then we just kind of start panhandling around and see what we can find and see what we can turn up.
Just like, oh yeah, just like finding
Just
Saudi
find a
princes
prince.
and be like, bro, listen.
Just find a prince in the burbs and we'll be fine.
I actually think that's a great business model, akin to the ideas that we've heard from multimillionaire CEOs already.
Yeah.
So
Multiversus relaunched to more than 114,000 concurrent players on Steam. That's not bad at all. It's almost 75% of the game's all-time peak when they launched a year ago. Now, Multiversus was the DC mashup game. It was Smash Brothers with DC characters, which is
it's
quite a wide breadth. Everything from Agent Smith from the
Warner
Matrix
Bros.
to Warner Bros. Sorry. To Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. Everything. Just all sorts of like this crazy spread. And the game was closed down for a lot of the last year. So they launched it a year ago and it had a decent click of people playing, and then everyone kind of got over it really fast, and there was a lot of complaints, a lot of issues. So they went into different kind of hibernation. They just shut down for like a year while they worked on it. Came out recently, re-released it, and I don't know, dude, getting 75% of your original players' numbers back right after that, and with the reputation, I think it's fucking promising as hell. I could be way wrong, and this game could be shut down in 2 weeks, but I think it's pretty impressive.
It is.
It's free.
However, I will say that there has been a lot of complaints about the game on release. It's been like a lot of balancing issues. Right. Unlocking characters takes a lot of gameplay.
Heavily monetized.
Yeah. And so that's been the biggest complaint. I mean, I played it a decent amount when it first came out. I'm not sure I'm going to jump back into it, but it was an okay game. But I think they have a lot of work to do to make this a big, successful game. So my prediction is that this will go the way of Redfall. You know, they'll just end up pulling the servers down after a year.
But Redfall never had numbers like this.
That's true.
Like this is that's what I'm saying.
But this is free. This is free.
But if you have a fan base that numbers 6 figures, that's enough. That's enough ground to like do something with.
I said what I said. Okay, my prediction is out there.
Okay, well, I think this game might have legs. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know why.
Why are you second guessing me?
I'm first guessing you.
Peterson Stradamus knows. Okay, so don't second guess me.
Twitch has terminated their safety advisory council. Just everybody gone. They formed this group in 2020. It was made up of 9 online safety experts and Twitch partners to consult on drafting new policies and updating current ones, in addition to creating new products and protecting marginalized groups. Twitch decided, nah, that's lame.
Look, Twitch doesn't give a F. They switch up their. They don't give a F about nothing.
No.
They switch up their like policies constantly. But what I think is funny about this one, I mean, there's so many things, right? First, they get the safety advisory council, and there's like policies, updating policies, protecting marginalized groups. Like, first off, like the group had to know that their days were numbered. There's only so many times you can like update the similar policy, and like there's only so many times you can change a policy around this marginalized group thing. Like if you do a good job, then you're like, okay, we're out of work.
That's good perspective.
But also like the optics of
it doesn't look good though, right?
Being like, let's see, who can we get rid of?
That's the thing, is
safety advisory council team is 8 people, right? So it's not like this. It's
a council, and I didn't get the impression these are full-time benefited employees.
They got to be paying them something,
right? But couldn't you just like not convene the council that often and
we had disband the
technically
council.
They still exist, and you send them a pittance every month? But yeah, like you said, the optics of just like, nah, they're all gone. We'll never need to update our policies. They're perfect.
So marginalized groups, these guys,
we solved that in the 60s.
We're done.
Are you kidding me? Do you remember Woodstock 1969? It was over at that
point.
Point.
It's all good,
dude. Racism, everything. Just it's solved. We got
Name
it.
one marginalized group and like check this out. We've got this policy for it already.
I can't even name a single one. Honestly, everyone's so equal these days.
I could see Twitch coming out with a statement like that just to justify this action.
Everyone gets equal treatment at Twitch, and everything's perfect.
Dude, honestly, the easiest they took the hardest route for the easiest thing here because it does say like they laid these people off, right? Is that what it says? Like, yeah, all they had to do is, like you said, is just make this a side of the desk job. Like, they've got to have some HR people who are
Because
like,
some of these are like
passionate
Twitch
about
partners,
diversity.
so they're just like streamers that are doing this on the side.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they felt the need to.
I don't know either. I don't know. It like the whole thing. I feel like they started going about it all wrong, and now they're facing. I don't know.
But hey, I saw
the whole
that
thing is funny to me.
that Twitter is just allowing full on porn now. So
Twitter does not
great.
care. Like
So
Twitter,
we're gonna everyone move over to Twitter. That's
just
where
do whatever you want.
marginalized groups are safest on Twitter. I've heard.
Oh gosh.
Kudos, positivity segment, things that we have been enjoying or recently enjoyed. I'll start out with my kudos is a movie that it's hard to say I enjoyed when it fucked me up so bad. But this movie
that means it was well done.
Yeah, this movie came out recently called The Whale. I believe Brendan Fraser won an Oscar for it. I'm a huge Brendan Fraser mark. I'm just a sucker for anything he does. I've loved him since I was a kid.
Favorite Brendan Fraser movie? Go. Can't
The
say
Mummy.
The Mummy. No, can't say The Mummy.
Oh, well then, ooh. It's either Blast from the Past or Encino Man, but kind of neck
I mean,
neck.
The Mummy is the best one. That's why I said you can't say that. That's like obvious.
I gotta say Blast from the Past because he's really funny in that. He was good in George in the Jungle too.
Encino Man is my Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
No,
he's awesome, and he was a part of my childhood, and then he just kind of disappeared because of some scumbags in Hollywood. So that sucked. So to see him come back and win this Oscar was cool. So I saw the movie, and it was actually some scheduled sadness time, which I carve out these days. Just a good time to just like sit there and cry. You gotta make time for it when you're older. I ain't got time for that shit unless I put it in my calendar. I gotta put it in my BlackBerry.
Like, oh, what time? Oh, shoot, I'm 15 minutes behind the
shit.
cake.
Well, I got this terribly sad film.
Did you watch The Whale?
Yeah, I watched The Whale to maximize my sadness time. So The Whale is this film. It was adapted from a play, and you can actually see a lot of the bones of the play in even just like the stage direction and stuff from the film. So it's kind of cool. But the play is about a morbidly obese man. He's a English professor, and he teaches all his classes online. So he's a shut-in. So he never has to leave, and he's eating himself to death.
And he bought the League of Legends $450 package. Because he's a whale, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. It's about online gamer addiction. No. And anyway, so he's trying to reconnect with his daughter as he's kind of like eating himself to death. And it is good. It was uncomfortable. I would say there were parts where I realized I was like pressing my feet together really hard because it just like discomfort. If you kind of, it's like I was just cringing. Like my body was literally cringing. Not like when you watched Meet the Parents and you're like, ugh. No, this was like full on body cringing kind of stuff.
JD sent me a scene from it of him like binge eating, and I was extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it is not fun to watch.
Yeah, and the whole movie is like a lot like that. And despite all that, dude, it was good. I wouldn't say like, oh, I loved it or I enjoyed it a lot. But after the end of it, I was like, what an amazing film. It wrecked me, made me cry real hard, especially at the end. But I think the characters I think the acting is amazing. I think the characters are interesting. And like I said, it's got a lot of the bones of a play in it. And I love live theater. I love those kind of like one shot plays where they're all just set in like one room essentially. And that's kind of how this is. And so, yeah, it just did a lot of things for me. I don't know if I have any critiques. I really don't. I think it was just a really good film. It's not streaming anywhere as far as I can tell. I rented it from the library because you know how I do.
Yes.
And I can watch the special features on the DVD. No, I don't do that shit. It's not 2005.
And then he rewatches it with the editor commentary.
Oh, I always watch both director
Director
commentary. Yeah, always have that track on. Usually on the first watch through. Anyways, yeah, check out The Whale at your local library, I guess.
Okay, I have a I'd say less depressing kudos.
Hopefully.
I watched a show on Netflix called Tires. If you're on Netflix right now, you've seen it. It's like on your front page all the time.
Not to be confused with the horror film Tire.
No, there's multiple tires. So
Multiple.
actually, that's the very first premise of the thing. So this is a comedy of this is a comedy starring Shane Gillis. And if you're on the internet, you've seen Shane Gillis. He's pretty big right now. He's all over the place. He's got some amazing stand-up bits, like his Down syndrome uncle with the grilled cheese sandwiches is like, if you haven't heard it, you need to watch it. It's so funny. And yeah, he does an amazing, a spot on Trump impression. He's very good at that. So he's a good comedian. And he's all over the place. He's on the comedy podcast and everything. So he's doing a show on Netflix. And I was a little worried because I was like, you know, sometimes these comedians come out with shows and they're garbage. This one is so funny. I could not stop laughing just so many times. Now, it is very on brand with Shane Gillis. So, like, just like random comments and like he'll say, he's like, it's like guys ribbing each other a lot. And like he's teasing his buddies a lot, like, but in a really like awkward way that you would never do in a workplace. Is very inappropriate, like lots of dirty comments, but like it's so funny. The jokes in it are fantastic. The whole premise is that they work in a tire shop and it is a failing tire shop.
I love that sitcom setup. I like that.
The owner of it is the manager is the owner's son, and he's just kind of like he's just like a pushover, kind of dumb. Like Shane Gillis gets him to do whatever he wants, and it's pretty funny. Like one idea he pitches him and eventually gets him to do is a bikini car wash to get people in, because he's like, dude, if you want to get people in, you got to use boobs to sell them. And they bring these 4 or 5 like little bit white trash ladies come in. He calls them dumpster mermaids at one point.
Oh my god, what?
It's so funny. The bits in it are hilarious. The show does not take itself seriously in any respect. It is 6 episodes, all of them less than 25 minutes. So it is a quick watch, all of it. Mm-hmm. And I laughed out loud by myself. I'm watching all by myself. Laughed out loud in every single episode. So it's very good.
That's pretty good.
Very funny. The whole like premise of this is that the manager guy accidentally ordered way too many tires. And so there's this tire shop that never has any business, and they have so many tires everywhere, and everyone complains about the smell because new tires smell terrible. So I don't know. I
like good. New tire smell.
Oh, I don't. You go to a tire shop, I hate it. So anyways, so good. If you were on the fence about watching it.
Did you say where you watched it? It was on Netflix?
It's only on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. First time they've had a good comedy, I think.
Ever. Yeah. Well, you gotta have at least one, I guess.
So they do great. It was already renewed for like another season. Hopefully season 2 is just as big of a banger, because seriously, the reviews online too of the fans are like, this show is amazing. It's so funny. Just know it's very inappropriate. Like all the jokes are inappropriate. Lots of swearing. Oh, but it's so funny. It's so good. So why? I want to watch it again. I watched it on one day, and I'm like, I gotta watch it again now. It's very good. So Tires on Netflix, please watch it. And I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Forget the metaverse. We're going IRL.
IRL.
Unplug.
Plug into real life.
Plug into the real world.
IRL.
IRL is our segment where we talk about real life
Stuff.
that meets video games. I don't know how you describe this. We don't
It's
do
like
it that
the
often.
video game version of like real life stuff.
Yeah, there you go. And so for this week, we're doing summer IRL summer things. We've got a handful of things that I just jotted down. I don't know, Peterson, if you brought any of your own.
You know what I was going to, and I was like, no, I've got good ideas for all the ones you wrote down. So
Cool. So we're just going to do the list.
Yeah, we'll do the list.
Okay, we'll start with getting shaved ice. You guys know in the summer, that's like the best thing, going to some random trailer in a parking lot and having a teenager shave a block of ice and squirt flavored sugar water on it. And for some reason, that is the best. It is the best. So what is the shaved ice of video games?
You go first.
For me, it's returning to an old game that's only going to hit for a minute, because like shaved ice, it's like gone. And it honestly, like by the time you get halfway done with it, they're kind of shitty. It's not like
and you're fine with it though. You're not even mad. You're just like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, like I knew how it was going to go. I've gotten one of these before. So it's like going to an old game that's only going to hit for a minute, but it's going to hit super hard.
That's me with RimWorld. I do that like probably once a year. I'm like, I'm gonna boot up RimWorld. I never beat it. I've never
get to the end. Never get to the bottom of that.
I get
weird
to like
snow
the
cone.
same point every time, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, and it always turns purple at the bottom. Just some like dark shade of purple because you got way too many syrups in
it.
There.
It always starts off so positive too. You're like, dude, I'm gonna have like tiger's
cream
blood
on
this
top.
side. I'm gonna have
a
blue
lemon
on this
lime.
side.
Oh, they call this the Spider-Man. Like,
And
it's just so good.
You get to the bottom, it's all just mixed together into like a jumble of
purplish brown,
which is so spot on because you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, I'm done with it. You toss it out, and you're like, but I'm gonna get it again next time I crave it. I know how this plays out. I know, like, dude, how many FTL games have I gotten 5 jumps in, and I'm like, eh.
You had your fun.
Yeah, I got what I was looking for out of it. So what about you? What's getting shaved ice for you?
So mine was similar. It's like you always just go into it thinking it's just going to be so dope. And there's just like, that watery syrup. I get brain freeze super easy too. Like I get brain freeze 100% of the times I get a
Why does that not surprise me?
I don't know. And
can't drink a glass of milk, can't eat a popsicle.
I'm not even drinking.
Can't touch his thumb and his pinky.
Eating it that fast. I just like, I'll take one bite and be like, crap, here it comes. I'm like, how's that?
Peterson looks at it and he's like, oh, that looks so cool. Oh, God damn it.
Like, people are like, press the tongue to your top of your mouth. That gets rid of it. And I'm like, no, it does not. Nothing gets rid of it.
Peterson's like, you can touch your tongue to the top of your mouth?
That's not possible. Like, I don't understand.
How do you get it off the bottom?
Yes. My tongue is very versatile. Okay, JD it has all sorts of tricks. Listen, so I'm not even a huge snow cone fan, but guess what? I get them anyway. Like every time, like 100% of the time. If someone's selling a snow cone, I'm like, I guess I got to get one. So this is like the Humble Bundle. You see a Humble Bundle and you're like, dude, that's a great deal. I'm gonna get this. And then it just sits there. You know what I mean? You're not like loving it. It's like fine, whatever. But you're just gonna get it no matter what because it's a great deal. Shaved snow cones are the cheapest summer treat you can get. Just like the Humble Bundle. So you're gonna get it. It's gonna sit in your Steam library. You're never gonna use it. That's the shaved ice. I'm just gonna get it. I don't even like it that much. I'm just gonna get it anyway.
I like that. All right. So what about cranking the AC? It's super hot outside. And you're like, you know what? I don't care what the bill looks like. It's going down to 58. I want to live inside of a refrigerator.
Yeah, I need it. So this is what I wrote. I need it. Cranking the AC. I need it so I don't die all summer. But also it's like there's a huge cost associated with this. And it costs me a ton of money. And I hate it. But I'm like, I have to do it. Like I can't not do it. This is reloading in a video game when your magazine is not empty.
Oh my God.
You're
that's
just
hilarious.
Like, I'm gonna do it. I
want a full clip. I want to be cold.
I want to
be
wearing
a hoodie inside my house in the middle of summer when it's 95 degrees outside.
I'm gonna do it. It's gonna cost me in either a reload time, a sound based on the game, or even some games like there's no such thing. Like you just like if you have 4 shots left in your clip, or in your magazine, you take it out, those are gone.
Mhm.
You don't get those 4 shots back.
No.
It's just like there's a cost associated with it, and I'm gonna take it every time. Not because I like, and I'll even take it. I'm mad about it. I'm like, every time my AC comes on, I'm like, dang it.
Oh, there it goes.
But I mean, I
you
am
can
gonna
hear the-
stand on it and just sit there and be like, that feels great.
you're
Just like with
whatever.
that clip, I'm like, dang it, my magazine is like, I've only taken 3 shots. I got a full, but next fight, I got to be ready. I know I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna be annoyed that I'm doing it, but I'm gonna do it.
For me, I went with it's like spending money on a full price game. It's this crazy luxury, but it feels so worth it at the time.
You got to do it.
You got to do it. It doesn't last long because those $70 titles, like you play them, they're one and done. I've never had a $70 game that I ended up playing like for long periods of time, like FTL or
For
Balatro
500 hours,
or
like
Undermine or any of these other games that I put
Never
in
once.
so much time. So yeah, it's not like a thing that's like super worth it. Or when it's November and I'm like, oh, remember when we kept the house at 65 all summer? Wasn't that nice? No, I even forget about it.
You're like, what was I thinking?
At the time, I needed Hogwarts Legacy, okay? I spent $70 on it, played it once.
Yeah.
I needed it.
And like you a little bit, well, you don't regret it, but at the same time, you're like, man, that was dumb. Like I shouldn't have done that. Like, yeah. No, I like
what am I
that.
going to do with it? All right. So next up, we've got hanging out in the basement to stay cool.
Okay.
I don't have a basement, just a crawl space. It wouldn't be very comfortable to hang out there, honestly.
JD, I knock on JD's door. He's like, hold on, I'm in the crawl
Come on
space.
down, crawl on down, watch for spiders
There's
and
so many
mouse
spiders.
poison.
I'm not going.
There's just
It's
some
so
random
scary.
sections of carpet that are thrown down there, so it's pretty cozy.
I'm not going down, JD.
You're gonna
You
love
always
it
try to
in
get me in the crawl
space.
space.
It's so cool down there. So yeah, going down into your basement if you have one, have the luxury of a basement. For me, it's taking the cover off the case of my PC because I built it backwards and the fans were blowing air into the components. Stupid. It's like not really going to solve the problem, but it does seem like it solves the problem for a minute. Taking the case cover off, it worked. Just like going into the basement. I'm not going to have to turn on the AC. I found out when I moved in to this house 2016, I went and talked to I was talking to my next door neighbor because we all have the same exact houses, and he actually has dug his crawl space out by hand over the course of 20 years.
Like a
an
freaking
ancient
prisoner.
Egyptian or a prisoner,
there.
right?
He just dumps it in the street
Yeah.
as he goes on
Just
walks.
slowly taking it out with a shovel and a
Andy
wheelbarrow.
Dufresne.
Dug himself out. Like his office down there has the septic pipe just going straight through like the middle of it because it's at like chest level and you have to duck under it to get to his desk. But it's worth it. And he told me the year we moved in, the year after we moved in, so it was like 2017. He's like, I finally got AC. He had been doing it all the way through climate change and everything, just raw dogging it in his basement. He's like, as long as we get into the basement, we're fine. But finally, like me, when I had to fix all the components, I know he just basemented it.
Utah with no AC is a lot. Like when I didn't have AC when I lived in Seattle, and the highest it would get was like 85, and those would be pretty miserable days. Utah with no AC is wow.
Guy's got a lot of trees on his property, and yeah, I think he got away with it. But then he told me when he did get the AC, he said I was in my basement and I had not 1, not 2, but 3 blankets on me, and it was like heaven. And I was like, yeah, nice. So,
gosh,
yeah,
I get pissed off when my kids are wearing a blanket in the house and like it's freezing, and I'm like, well,
it's nice. Go outside for 5 seconds.
Yeah, get outside. We're playing video games all day.
So you do have a basement, Peterson. So this one actually hits closer to home. You're in your basement now.
I am in the basement currently. I had a little bit of a different take on this one because the basement is my quiet space. This is where I go to achieve solace, to be alone, to be quiet. My office is down here. Most of the time, like most of the year, I work from home and the kids are at school and it is so quiet down here and I love it. It's my quiet spot. But in the summertime,
oh no, because the kids infest
all the kids are home and all their friends come over and they all hang out downstairs and it's so loud in my
uh,
quiet, peaceful space. This is when a multiplayer game has a free weekend event or goes on Game Pass. And there's a game you love. Things are going really great. The community's great. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, free weekend, or it's on Game Pass. And like all of a sudden you get this crazy influx of teenagers who are just loud and annoying, and they've ruined your peaceful place.
Dude, I love that.
That's my basement in the summertime.
Yeah, because I think my basement would definitely be a place of solace for me as well.
And then imagine if 6 14-year-olds come down. And
even
like,
one 14-year-old would spoil it for me.
It smells bad now.
No.
Like JD convinced me. Look, I have a candle in my office now because the teenagers came and hung out, not in here, just downstairs. And
why don't you just subtly leave a can of Axe out for them?
Because they will do Axe bombs on each other.
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake, JD. They'll
Couldn't
Axe bomb the whole house.
That couldn't be worse than the general stink of a 14-year-old.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
Okay, how about lemonade stands?
Okay. Okay, lemonade stands. I love it. I love it. Like, it makes me so happy when I see the kids doing it, right? I appreciate what it is. I appreciate what they're doing.
You won't do it. You won't slap leather for them, will you?
I will stop. Most of the time I will not purchase a lemonade. I just give them money because honestly, kids are gross and their lemonade's gross. Then their little fingers have been in the ice. I just know it. And then they put it in my cup. It's all gross. I don't want it. So that's French Studios because they're French people are gross. Just kidding. No, I'm just
say, how
JD
dare
is like,
you? Planet Crafter.
Those gross French people are making my games. No, it's Kickstarter games.
Okay.
Put a game on Kickstarter. Like, look, I'll fork over money for it, and I probably won't even ever play it. Maybe at some point I'll get the game, but that's like me with the lemonade stand. I'll just give them $2, and if they give me a lemonade, I definitely won't drink it. I turn the corner and dump it out the window because I know those kids' hands are gross. So I'll never drink it, but I'll give them money, and that's Kickstarter. I'll give them money, and I'll probably never play it. So
it's like me with the Frostpunk board game.
Yeah, you give them money, and then you're like, I can't do this. It's gross.
Well, for me, because thanks for setting that context, because I love lemonade stands. I stop at all of them, and I consume the lemonade because I'm not a parent, so I don't get all those.
You don't know where they're
germs and things that you get exposed to. So I have to go inoculate myself somehow.
Yeah,
and so I go get kid germs from lemonade stands.
Dude, that's brilliant.
Yeah, right.
You're like, I don't need to go get a COVID shot. I stopped at 3 lemonade stands this week.
I hit the same lemonade stand twice. So I
definitely getting COVID from them.
Yeah, so for me, this is controllers on PC. Because I love using a controller on PC. I use a controller anytime I can, as much as I can. Peterson hates controllers.
Yeah.
Would prefer to always use mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Even though controllers are far better and superior.
They hurt my thumbs. Do you know how my thumbs don't work? Look, on mouse and keyboard, I don't even use my thumb. Controllers, it's exclusively my stupid thumb.
He's in heaven, dude.
Yeah.
Just like any great ape that doesn't have to use
these stupid things. You're trying to get them to do something. They're the worst. Look at them. They're short and fat.
Useless. So yeah, that's I love lemonade stand. I love a controller. Peterson, not so much.
Not my thing. Not my thing.
Yeah. Right. I didn't have one for this actually, but this is pool parties.
I have one. So you have to throw a pool party with your friends, right? You've been going all winter long. You've been going all winter long. You just like hanging out with your friends. Everyone's in their hoodies. Get to a pool party. Finally, everyone's in their swimsuits. You're all together. Everyone's in their swimsuits. You're like, oh my gosh, look at all of my friends and their bodies all of a sudden. That's the Rule 34 subreddit for video games. You've got your favorite gaming characters. If you would like to see more of their body, yeah, you're like, oh, I want to see everyone almost naked.
Don't write a negative Steam review. Don't write a death threat to the developer. Just go to the subreddit.
Just go to the Rule 34 subreddit and search for Overwatch, and that's the equivalent of a pool party. Like, you want to see more skin? whether you want to or not, that's what you're getting, and that's the pool party. You're like, I guess I'm going to see all my friends nearly naked today, and that's Rule 34 subreddit. So that was my best one for that.
All right, the last one here. This is the quintessential summer experience. This is for me what encapsulates summer perfectly is a barbecue. Just a good barbecue. Every part of it, from the smell of the food grilling on the grill to like the social aspect of hanging out with people, waiting to eat good food or eating them with them, cracking a cold beer at a barbecue. Like there are few experiences.
All of it, dude. When the weather is just amazing. There's a swimming pool out there. People are chilling. The music's going. All of it. You got some cornhole going. Like,
dude,
people are just having a good time.
This is summer. This is what summer is all about.
This is what we wait for all year long. This is it.
And it's a human experience. Grilling meat over an open flame. Like, come on. And socializing with our clan.
Eating watermelon with your fingers out of the
human
bowl.
As it fucking gets right there. So for me, sticking with the general lazy theme, video games in general, that's barbecue for me. It's so hard to get right. And some people out there just seem to master it with ease. Some games come out and they're just like Balatro, and the guy just makes it. And he's just like, oh yeah, I just like threw this together in a weekend. Or like Stardew Valley, or what's the one I'm thinking? Streets of Rogue, where these people can just like you go to a barbecue and there's some master on the grill, and he's like, oh, I just got these steaks at Walmart, and just like threw this, and you eat it, and it's the most miraculous fucking steak you've ever had. You're like, what? You got them where? That's barbecue for me. It's just like video games. Like, they're hard to make. It's hard to get right. Some people just nail it. Most times, I would say you don't nail it. Some
studios, they put out the smoker and they've been smoking it for 36 hours, and then you get it and it's just dry and terrible.
You're like, why did you spend so long smoking this? And you told me all about it, and the menu's so fancy, and
like, dude, we were
how your
stoked
brisket's
for this.
so great.
You've been in the group chat for 4 days now, talking about how good this is going to be.
And it was
like
dry,
super mediocre.
Yeah.
And then you got Ron Swanson on the grill, just like making a plain burger, and you're like, "This is exactly what I wanted."
Stuff.
This is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. So, what did you have for barbecue?
I didn't have one for this. Yours is pretty spot on.
Perfect. Well, that's good because we need to move on anyway.
This is summertime.
All right. So, you guys have summer experiences, anything like this, or things that you think match the game? You should jump on Discord. We have a 3-Bit Gamer Show Discord. Awesome community there. Come in, jump in, shoot the shit. Tell us about your summer video games.
Dice of Destiny.
Dice of Destiny, this game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a Dice of Destiny. It's a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. And then we find a game that fits that genre, and we play it. Peterson 2 weeks ago rolled a base building. Is that what it was?
It was a building.
A building game.
Yeah.
And he had a budget of, I think, like $50.
Yep.
And he picked a game called Abiotic Factor and played it a bunch, right?
Yep. So Abiotic Factor, let's see, it came out on the 2nd, May 2nd, so a month ago, $25. The developer Deep Field Games, they got a couple other games like I think Core Keeper and one called Unfortunate Spaceman. So they've got a couple things. But let me tell you about this game. Abiotic Factor, it is survival crafting, just like pretty standard there. Like, you have to eat, you have to drink, and you have to sleep, right? You actually have to go to the bathroom too. You have to like poo and pee, use the toilet. It's a multiplayer. I played by myself, and I tried to talk some people into playing with me, but the game is very early access. Like, when you pull up the roadmap, you see like, they've got a long way to go. Like, they've got a lot of stuff planned, and they have it. The roadmap has a lot of that releases for this year, But even then, like, you can tell this is like a quarter of the game is here on this. So what this is and it's different than a lot of survival crafting games I've played, because you start off, this is your first day on the job. You're in Australia and you go to this laboratory, and you go down there, and they're like alluding to like, oh man, it was your first day. Sorry, things gonna be a little janky. We've got some escapes or something like that. And you're like, what the heck? And you quickly gather that there are these creatures that have escaped, and the whole lab is in turmoil, but they let you start anyway. And so you go into this lab. This very much feels like, if I was to tell you what this game is, it is 7 Days to Die. It's the 7 Days to Die systems
Okay.
meets Half-Life setting and graphics. Because even the
Okay.
graphics look like
This looks like a
Half-Life.
original Xbox game.
Yes, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. A little bit plays like it. But this game on Steam has overwhelmingly positive reviews, 7,500 reviews.
Damn.
96% of them are positive.
Damn.
I will add to that because this game is fantastic. I do have a couple nits, and I'll get into those at the end. But what I love about this game, you start in, and then it's just like, go ahead, and you pick up stuff, and you unlock recipes when you pick up stuff. And sometimes you have to like figure out the recipe. So it'll like in your crafting menu, it'll be like a kind of like a blueprint of a recipe, and you go in there and they'll gives you all these options. You'll be like, oh, to craft this thing, I probably need some wood planks. And you're like adding all the stuff, and you guess. And then it's like, you got 3 of the 4 right. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, then go back, and you're like, so you have to like figure out what you would do to craft it. It's pretty easy. Like it keeps it pretty easy because you don't want to spend all your time doing that. But once you do, you quickly get into the game, and you are locked into just this common area with a couple other scientists, and they're all like sitting there like, I'm not going anywhere. This is ridiculous that we're locked down. They're all mad, right? And you're like, well, I'm out of here. So you start exploring the world and quickly finding monsters, and it's like, you got to throw a net on this monster, and then like the monsters, that's how you capture them, or not capture them. You craft a net, throw it on them, and then you got to go stomp them out, essentially, before
Like
you get a
that.
weapon. And then you unlock a crafting table. It's pretty standard after that. You unlock a crafting table, and then you got to like learn all these recipes, and you're crafting armor and weapons and tools and all these different things. What makes it slightly different is that usually in these crafting games, like everyone I've played, you're like, I'm going to go chop down this tree and get wood, and then I'm going to go mine this stone to get stone. And like, you're in an office setting. You're in a laboratory office. And so you're like, I'm going to break this computer, and then I'm going
that.
Yeah, and so you're like getting stuff that way.
You're like scavenging.
Yes, scavenging an office. So it feels way different. Also, your crafting table has to be powered, but you just have to build it next to an outlet. And then you can grab the plug and plug it in, and then you like can use it. You can unplug it and plug in like your stove or something like that. So you're just crafting near these outlets. So it kind of like
Is this procedurally generated?
No, definitely not. So it's dictating how you're where you're going to craft, pretty much. But yes, it's definitely not procedurally generated because there's a story associated with it. So you're going through a story, and you're like, I got to find this person so I can learn how to craft a power supply, so I can open up this door. And you're going through and doing this. Now, every night you have a watch, and every night the creatures kind of crazy. So you have to essentially run back to your base. There's like a starting area, and that's where I've kind of set up camp. It is kind of annoying because they gotta like run all the way back. So I think once you get further into the game, you will be you can set traps. So at night you can sleep, but if there's enemies around, they're gonna come like try to attack you. So you can set up traps and things like that to like keep them at bay. And yeah, and as you're going through, I mean, it's pretty standard after that, but the story's interesting. Like I found what they were working on in the lab, and they're creating these portals that send you to like a different world type of thing, and you're like,
so you do leave the office. Do you go out back into the like Australian outback?
you do go outside. Now the game right now does not have a lot of that.
Right.
So there's still like a lot of areas, even in the office, that they need to unlock still. But yeah, you do get outside. You're not like in the outback. You're just kind of like in the grounds of the area of the lab.
Yeah.
But man, this has the bones for just an incredible game. So much fun, very clever and creative, and like the stuff you're making. The story seems fun, and like interesting. It has almost like a Stranger Things vibe. You know, they've like accidentally released these creatures from like another world, and they're kind of like wreaking havoc in the lab, and I think you're trying to not let them escape. Some of them are kind of hard to fight. The combat's not great necessarily. Like, it definitely could be better, but this is at its core a survival crafting game. And so I really want to play this with another person because
I wanted to go on sale. I'll come play it with you, but at $25 for a game that's this early access, it sounds a little bit earlier than Valheim was when it dropped.
Oh, it is. It is. It is.
And so that's a really
the systems aren't early access, but it's the content that's early access.
Which, you know, both of us are great at just putting on blinders to that, especially for indie games, just dealing with it. But for $25, like, I expect something pretty fucking fleshed out.
Yeah, and what I tell people is like what I'm gonna do. Like, I've played several hours of this game, and now I'm just gonna stop and wait because I don't want to hit the end. All the only complaints that you see on the reviews are like, "Man, I wish there was more." I hit the end and it was like not an end. It was just like the end of what I could do. So you want more content. My nits are that and partially this is probably because I just played Planet Crafter, which makes everything so easy. They just make everything feel so good. This game, like, I've only unlocked one backpack and it's not very big, so I'm like constantly trying to decide what to get rid of and like what to pick up and that sort of thing. Also, there are certain things where it like doesn't hold your hand at all, like the sleeping mechanic. A lot of people I saw on the subreddit were like, I died several times because I was too tired, and I died. The first time I died was because I was exhausted, and I was like, I don't know how to sleep. I don't know.
Oh my god! When you starve or die of exhaustion in a survival game because you can't figure out how to eat, you're like holding the food in front of your face, starving to death, and you're like, God damn it, what do I press?
What am I supposed to do?
It's so funny.
That was the sleeping one. Like, you know, there's a sleep mechanic, but you haven't unlocked the bed yet because it turns out you have to go find a couch, and you can sleep on the couch, or you can break it down, and that gives you the recipe for crafting a bed. So that's like, I had to look it up, and then it was like, oh, and then it was fine after that. So like my nits were like, there are just some UI things that they could definitely work on. It felt like you were hungry, and I picked the perks where I was hungry and thirsty less often, and even then I was like, ugh, and like I was annoyed by it. Probably because I didn't have a lot of inventory space. I didn't want to be carrying around that stuff because I still needed to unlock a lot of recipes and like find my way around. So that's kind of my nits for it. I think this game is going to be brilliant if they continue on this path.
It looks awesome. I've just been watching gameplay of it. It seems right up my alley. Survival crafting in an office. Fuck yeah. That sounds so cool.
And so
I'm watching him go through like the air vents and stuff, like exploring the back rooms.
Just you break down like anything too, just like breaking stuff down. So I think this game is going to be brilliant. I think it needs time to cook. I don't regret buying and playing it at all. I think you should buy this on a sale because, as JD said, 25 is steep for where it's at right now.
Frustrating.
But I have no doubt this game will eventually be worth $25 after. But I'm talking like we're at least a year away from that.
Yeah.
So at this point in 2025, I think this is a $25 game. Right now, with the content there, that's a steep ask, but this game is going to be great. So keep your eye on Abiotic Factor, wishlist it. It goes on sale for $15. Grab it.
Yeah.
Grab it and wait. Honestly, that's why I say grab it and just wait for more content.
Or just jump around and get an idea of
Get the feel for that is one thing. Like I was playing this game and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna restart this game.
Yeah.
When I play it again because like
Learn some stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't do again. So great game, fantastic builder game. Just came out. Like I said, overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Buy it on sale or wait a year. That's my review.
Beautiful. All right, so that means we've got a re-roll on deck. Peterson,
Yes.
do you want to roll to see who's
Yeah.
gonna be?
Yeah, you want me to roll? Who's gonna
Yeah,
go
well, you
first?
probably want to do a 6. You always bitch if we don't.
Well, I do want to do a 6, and we are doing a 6. So, okay, here's the dice. You are. What do you want to be?
3, 5, 6.
Oh my gosh. Okay, 3, 5, 6. It is a 1.
Nice. All right, so you get to roll your 20.
Okay, I got the bone dice, the
Oh,
bone
nice.
20.
That's
so here
cool
we
as fuck.
go.
Did you hit a 19? Play it.
19. I kid
Play-
you not. I hit
play
a
the fucking clip.
19.
Play the clip.
You've been waiting for this forever.
Play
Here we
the
go.
clip.
I've never heard this clip.
We are going to have open sexual intercourse on every street corner of America.
Yes! Yes!
I can't believe it happened. It was supposed to happen to you.
It happened to you.
I rolled it and it bounced off my keyboard and rolled back down and it stopped at 19 and I was like,
the
that's
destiny.
the number. Isn't that the number? Like I was like, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's the number. If you guys aren't regular listeners,
No.
you might not know, but 19 is our sex game.
Oh, this is going to be the horniest episode yet.
Peterson has to play a sex game. So
In
sex
2
is off.
weeks, put a towel underneath you when you listen because this is going to be hot.
You just wear a diaper. So sex is off the list. Horror is our new 19. So now we can just
Oh, my
Peterson's gonna roll a double 19 now because he loves hitting horror games.
price.
All right, price, please be a 60 by an ultra premium sexy game. Yep,
3.
$30. That'll
Right
get
in the-
you.
Oh, my God.
Peterson has to play sex.
How do I hide a game? How do I hide a
play
game
a
on my
sex game.
Steam?
We are going to have open sexual intercourse on every street corner of America.
Why? Why did this have to happen to me? I'm literally going to be researching how to hide a game on my Steam account. This is geez. Here we go. I don't want everyone to see me playing. Dude, I'll just open up right now. I'm going to open up the store and just scroll on down a little bit. And top thing, Sisters, The Last Day of Summer.
Here's how we're going to do it. For the first time in America, there's a generation of visionary maniac, white mother country, dope feeding rock and roll freaks who are ready to get down.
JD's so excited that I have to do this.
You can hide it. I think Phil offered a suggestion. You can hide your sex games.
No,
But
you can.
yes, you can.
Oh, I
You
thought
can hide the games
you
you're
were
playing.
saying.
You can also just appear offline so no one can see that you're online playing sex games. But the thing is, you will know. And I will know.
You're like, why is Peterson offline?
I can't wait to see what game you pick.
I don't even know. I don't even.
You have
Oh,
such a breadth of options,
this
honestly.
is gonna be bananas. I have to pick one that doesn't have a super sexy title,
Right.
Because my kids, I share a library with them, so I don't know.
I think you can hide this. If it's family share, I'm pretty sure there's family features. So the family perverts can play whatever games they want.
that's the game I'm gonna play. Family features.
Family perverts.
Oh gosh, no! Why did it have to be?
Oh man, that's awesome.
Oh.
So I think you just search the word sex in Steam library.
They
in the Steam
do.
store.
Phil is asking.
Sex of Thrones. Sex. That's the second result.
Yes.
Cyberpunk sex all in one for super price.
The search is nudity. That will get you there.
Sexual content. Sex, please.
Sex. What? Anyway, all right. Well, here we go. This is
Lust
Matt.
Goddess.
That's the big one. That was on my top list yesterday. So,
Peterson's wish list. What about Crush?
dude, there's so many. The hard part is not going to be finding a
Deciding
game. The
on
hard
which
part is going
sex
to be
game to play.
finding a one that's worth playing.
Fuck. Town of Sins.
Dude. I can tell you right now, I'm not playing a visual novel sex game.
Vagrant Lustful Temptation.
Oh my gosh.
Fresh Women Season 1. MILF's Plaza. Bunny Garden.
JD's having too much fun with this.
I can't do. I legitimately cannot wait to see what game you pick. I'm so excited.
Uh,
Oh my gosh, I hope it's Love Dungeon. All right, so Peterson will pick a sex game for $30. Next week. I'm really excited for that. Okay, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us on this episode. To play us out, we have some Irish teenagers going way too hard. This comes to us courtesy of Jackson. Certified banger.
This is a group of Irish elementary school kids.
4th grade.
I doubt it. Yeah. Dude, I just want to listen to this the rest of the time. It's called The Spark. Just search it up on YouTube. It's incredible. So, I think JD disconnected. Well, thanks for logging in. Are you there, JD?
Danced so hard my fucking internet blew out.
That is what happened. Huh. JD's gonna listen to the whole song. Shout it! I doubt it. You gotta end the episode, JD.
I did. I said I'm logging off like a minute ago.
Oh, you were frozen. You were literally frozen. This is Peterson going AFK.
You go listen back to the episode. I'm sure you'll see it. I did say logging off like right at the start of the song before I froze.